And I didn't notice back then, but later I think you told me like, oh, you should have done this. And I was like, oh shit, I messed up. Today we're gonna do a video where we talk about our family, how do they react. We have a friend behind cameras. He's gonna be doing some questions for us. I hope you find it interesting.
Okay, let's do it. Vamos.
Vamos.
Regarding international couples, this is a comment that I've seen online. I think maybe way too much. I've heard that Koreans are usually a little bit more conservative, right? And Korean parents usually wouldn't want, their child to marry a foreigner. So, Jun, what did your parents say when you first told them like, oh, I'm dating a foreigner?
Okay, so I think my mom found out it because my Kakao, the profile was me and her. So she asked me like, oh, so are you dating with foreigners? And I said, yes. And then she was like, nope. And then, like literally like,
nope.
She didn't know like where she's from. She didn't know about her at all. Like nothing. She didn't know just because she's a foreigner. She said just no. And then, and I was like, what? You don't even know her. And the reason she was like that was that she thought that there's gonna be language barriers and the culture differences, and then also my dad found out, he also react exactly the same. But like I had to kind of like convince them like what kind of person she is, and think we're good, and then they slowly started accepting. And I think like because we did like 2 years of long distance relationship. I went to Mexico twice, and she came to Singapore when I was working there. So I think like mom was doing all that for 2 years. They started just acknowledging like, okay, like if you two love each other this much, like what can I do? How can I stop you guys from loving each other? That's my parents' first reaction, and changed a little bit. Yeah, my parents love her, like they love her so much.
Laura, did you feel extra pressure to make up for that?
I was so nervous when I first met his parents. My Korean was non-existent back then. I thought like I had to rely more on like June translating everything for me. Back then, I remember I did the handshake, but I did it just like this instead of just like this, like more formal. And I didn't notice back then, but later I think you told me like, oh, you should have done this. And I was like, oh shit, I messed up. But
it was nothing.
It was nothing? You didn't notice?
I don't know if you noticed, but I remember one thing specifically, the day she didn't let me go to bathroom.
I was so nervous. I didn't want to be alone with parents. So I told him like, please just stay here. Don't drink water.
I've gone to Mexico twice when Laura was in Mexico. I visited her family actually, but back then we were dating. We're not like married. But still I was so nervous to see them in person as a boyfriend. But I think they were very nice to me.
I think they trust my judgment. So I feel like they knew you were a good person because I chose you. They trust me more than you.
Of course.
But the first time I told my mom that I was dating a Korean, he was a little bit worried about the culture, Asian culture. She had this how you say
stereotype.
Like the stereotype on her mind that Asian couples, the lady follows like everywhere.
It's like the wife has to treat the husband like a king.
Yeah, like he's the king and I'm like, hold on. Like that. So she was worried that I would be at home, like basically like a slave for him. But I talked with her and I convinced her like that's not the case. Instead, it's opposite. Okay.
Have your parents ever met each other? And if they haven't met yet, what are the things you would be worried about?
Okay, it's first of all language barrier. Okay, they haven't met yet. Laura's family are planning to come to Korea in this October, so it's gonna be like the first ever official like meeting our parents meet together.
I think I'm more nervous than them.
Yeah, me too. Same. I get so nervous.
There's a lot more pressure.
Because my parents, they don't speak English at all.
And my parents, they don't speak Korean.
I think that's just one thing we worry about. But I think now like Laura's Korean is good enough to translate everything.
But other than that, I think it's gonna be like a friendly meeting. Like they will have a lot of questions, and that's good because there's gonna be always topic to talk about. Yeah, I think it's gonna be fine. Like
yes, but still nervous.
Yes,
I can't lie.
Laura, what was your parents' reaction the first time you told them you were coming to Korea? Because when you got married, I guess they were worried you were going to leave the country, move to the other side of the world. June, for you, did your parents were worried about that? Were your parents worried that you were going to actually go to Mexico?
Like I think they were a little bit sad, but they didn't tell me like, "Oh, we're sad that you may be living there." They were more like, "Oh, just have fun and live your life."
More your
they always support my decisions. So even if, for example, right now I haven't seen them in like 3 years, they still support my decision of living here, and they know it's the best choice for me.
I think my mom, she always has the words in her mind that she always like, I have a feeling that one day you're gonna go to Mexico and live there. But we don't have any plans yet. But what my parents always say that, like Laura came from like all the way from Mexico, just for me. She didn't have family here, she didn't have friends here, so my mom and my dad always emphasize that like you have to treat her really good and you have to be with her as much as you can.
That's nice.
I mean, she loves Korea, but if she didn't get married to me, maybe she would have been in Mexico by now.
June, you have also been making an effort to learn Spanish, right?
Yeah.
How is that going? Do you?
It's going nowhere.
But you've learned some a little. Can you demonstrate us something for us?
You guys make a conversation. Can you please introduce yourself in Spanish and talk to Laura? Laura asked him.
In Spanish.
Sí. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Jun.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Corea.
¿Cuántos años tienes?
Tengo 33 años.
¿Qué vamos a hacer mañana?
Mañana voy a trabajar.
¿Qué va a hacer Laura mañana? ¿Qué va a hacer Laura mañana?
Va a trabajar también. Después de trabajar, vamos a comer algo delicioso.
Yeah. That's right.
It's difficult. I think that's it for today. Yeah. I think it was very short video about how our parents thoughts about us.
Pues gracias por ver esta entrevista y la verdad es un update de cómo nos está yendo en nuestras vidas. Espero les haya gustado el video. Ya saben que si les gustó le pueden dar like y se pueden suscribir y nos vamos a ver en el próximo video. Bye bye.
Bye bye.